Good morning, party people. In this edition of Throwback Thursday, I decided to remix my #1 video of all time. The difference between having a bad battery and a bad alternator. Man, for months and months and probably years, this video always landed in my top 10 view. Now, I don't know if it lands in the top 20. There's so many people that are searching YouTube for viewed videos and replicating videos like this and capturing views for their channel just so they can turn a buck. You know, I call them drifters, that it's not getting that many views. Nonetheless, it's a great video. I hope you all enjoy it. Thanks for watching. And if you need to contact me directly for some reason, watch the clips at the very end of the video. It'll tell you how to get in touch with me and possibly get some help that you may need. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great day. I wanted to post a quick video about how to determine if you got a bad battery or if you have a bad alternator. I'm starting to see more and more questions about that come up. So let's get started. Usually the first indication that you got an issue is when you come to your car and maybe unlock the door. Sometimes if your battery's dead, your door won't unlock the rest of the doors or something like that will happen. That was a common thing I had with my old 740 Volvo. But other than that, most of the time you'll know when you go to start the car. You turn the car to start it up, you see a couple lights light up, and you turn the key, nothing happens. If nothing happens, you more than likely have a dead battery and or starter issue. This is how you can tell, usually, if you have a dead battery. It's real common for people to think that something other than the battery is defective, all because they have other things working. Like their lights will work, so they think their battery's fine. Your lights might work at a lower voltage than your starter will work. Let's say, for instance, a battery is supposed to have between 12.4 and 14 volts. Your starter might need 9 volts before it'll kick in and try to start. Anything under 9 volts, it'll fall off and not let the starter work. Anything above 9 volts, the starter will kick in and try to start the car. Even though it's slow cranking or low, it may still turn the starter. Your headlights might work at 6 volts. So all because your headlights work don't mean that your battery's good enough to start your starter. If you're having issues with your car starting, the first thing you want to do is check your connectors, your positive and your negative. On the positive side, there's a plus. That plus is right there. On the ground side, there's a negative. That minus is right there. So you need to understand the difference. But with these newer cars, sometimes you can't see the corrosion that builds up behind the connector. The first thing you want to do is make sure that your connectors are tight. I seen a lady jump in her car over and over again every day. The second or third day I went over and asked her what the problem was. She said she had a new battery. She was still having a problem with the car starting. I grabbed the battery terminal and the connector was loose. So you want to make sure neither one of your connectors move when you grab them and try to twist them with force. If they do, you don't have a good connection at your battery, and you're going to have issues with your battery not giving proper juice or proper ground to what it needs to get started. So make sure your battery connections are tight. One thing you should know is if your battery is drained down too far or it has bad cells, you may not be able to jump start it and keep it going. As you can see, this battery has 6 cells, 6 of these things on top of it. And if 2 or 3 or 4 of those cells are bad, you may get a good reading on your voltmeter that it's got good voltage, but as soon as you put a load on it, like trying to start it, it'll drop off tremendously, because each time that you have a bad cell, you have less cold cranking amps. This car battery has 600 cold cranking amps, and if half of the cells are bad, it may have 12 volts on those good cells, but it has 300 cranking amps, which is not enough to start the car. So you got to keep in mind that if you got good voltage, it may not be good under a load. So you could take this battery to a auto parts store and they'll test it and let you know if it's good or bad. Alternators do not go bad that often. And down there you see my alternator. Alternators are typically more expensive than batteries and they last a lot longer than batteries. Normally an alternator will last a couple 100,000 miles. The first clue that you have that the battery is bad and not the alternator is if you jump the car after the battery's been dead and you can drive the car around, that indicates that the alternator is good to some degree and it is now charging the battery and giving power to the car so the car can drive. If your alternator was dead or very bad, you couldn't jump start the car and then drive 5 or 10 or 20 miles. Typically, an alternator will not do that unless it's doing something bad to the battery like overcharging or undercharging, which is very rare. Normally, it's a give or go thing. So if you're able to jump the car and drive it, you likely have a bad battery, even if the battery is a month or two old. Another indication that you have a bad battery versus an alternator is if you're driving the car and you have none of these warning lights lit in your dash, you normally have a situation where your battery's bad. Normally, you'll get a battery light and maybe 2 or 3 other lights will light up, indicating that you have a problem with your charging system. So you may want to look in your owner's manual and read the warning signs in your owner's manual that lets you know if your alternator or charging system is bad. If your battery's bad, you might get a battery light, but more than likely, you will not get a battery light. You'll get a charging system light if your alternator is bad. Just to recap, if you try to start the car, your battery starts your car, not your alternator. So if you're having problems starting your car, your battery's weak for one reason or another. Maybe you're not driving the car enough. You typically need to drive the car on a daily basis or at least once a week for a half hour to charge the battery up. If you typically take short trips of 10 minutes or less to work or from work, you can wear a battery down in 60 or 90 days. That vehicle needs to be run at some point during the week for at least 30 minutes to give that battery a good charge. If you are having problems starting, your battery's weak. If you jump the car off and you're able to drive somewhere, you more than likely have a battery issue. If you jump the car off and it dies 5 or 10 minutes after you get the car started, then you may have an alternator problem. I recently had an alternator problem and I was driving around the community fine. I got to where I was on my way home. I was about 5 miles from home and all of a sudden I seen these lights light up across my dash. Well, my car was still running. Immediately I knew I had an alternator that had quit on me. So I cut down my lights, cut off my stereo, and I was able to drive on the battery till I got home. By the time I got home, my battery was so weak that things started shutting down on the car. The transmission quit shifting. Something else cut out. And these things need a certain amount of volts, and my battery voltage has dropped to about 7 volts. So if your car starts to lose power and the battery dies while you're driving, you more than likely have an alternator issue. If your car just fails to start, you more likely have a battery issue. If you made it this far, I trust that you found some information that was either useful or entertaining, so go ahead and hit the like button. And if you would like notification of future videos that I post, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. You can follow me on other social media apps by looking for @RobertDIY. Some form of that should bring up the other channels that I have on places like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. If for some reason you need some more personal help, go to my website at robertdiy.com and use the phone number that I have posted there to send me a text message or you can email me. If you have questions or comments, please make a comment below. And if you'd like to make some kind of financial contribution to what I got going on here, go to my channel and hit the more link at the end of the introduction statement, and it'll show you different ways that you can support me financially. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.